It's hard to believe that NBA superstar Kobe Bryant is gone. To honor his memory, I would like to share with you how he was also a true martial artist. By looking at his plays, we'll be looking at how he was able to utilize martial arts into his basketball career. So let's get started. Alright, so we'll be looking at this play first. So Kobe gets the ball, he drives to the right, fakes it, and then he shoots. Right. The point I want to point out is how his head level doesn't change at all from the moment he gets the ball to the moment before he jumps up. So he gets the ball now, he dribbles, but his head doesn't move at all. Usually, since you're bending your knees and you're running forward, it's usual for your head to go up and down. However, if you want to move further and faster, it's better to have the same head level. We also have that in karate too. If we want to move forward, we bend our knees even more to keep our head level the same. If you don't bend your knees, you tend to move up and then down. So your whole motion becomes like a mountain. But if your head doesn't move, then your body movement becomes a straight line. I think you can see it right here. So if I replay Kobe's play slowly, so he gets the ball, he dribbles, his head doesn't change. And it's really significant how when he fakes his shot, his head doesn't change. And at the last moment when he shoots, that's the moment his head goes up. So I think that was one of the points that you can see how Kobe was able to utilize, or how I don't think he has it in his mind that he's using any martial arts, but in his play, he is actually using it. So the next example is how he was able to control the distance to have a better position for him. So let's look at this example. And now this one's a bit closer. So I think you can notice how he shoves his shoulder close to the opponent first, and then he moves back. By doing this, the opponent freezes in the spot for a second. So that gives him enough time and space for him to jump up. This example you can see in karate, especially in kumite. Before, let's say, if the opponent's really big and you want to close in distance, some people shove under their arms like this, and then they push away to make the distance to attack. I think you can see it in this video. So there are similarities between karate and basketball, where you close the distance and then you counter, and then you shoot up. The next example is how he was able to use his body effectively to make it hard for the opponent to react. So let's look at this example. So Kobe receives the ball and then he shoots. This might not look like anything special, but let's look at the reason why the opponent jumped a bit later than when Kobe jumped. So notice how he doesn't bend down that much to jump. Usually in any sport, the opponent looks at your torso to determine if you're moving forward, back, up, or down. So the movement of your arms doesn't bother the opponent that much. In basketball or any sport, faking like this wouldn't do much. However, if you move your torso, that tricks the opponent. Meaning, if your torso goes down, then the opponent knows that you're going to jump up. However, if you look at this play, his torso doesn't drop down before he shoots. Meaning, it's hard for the opponent to know that Kobe is going to jump that way. And which body part moves first is his arm. So his arm moves up, and then his torso moves up. And you can see that in karate as well. When you punch with your leading hand, you don't move your torso first. You move your fist first, and then your torso moves. So those are the same example of how players are able to move their limbs first before their torso moves. So the next example is how his leg doesn't leave the ground for him to react and move fast. So if I take a look at this example, okay, so Kobe gets the ball on the left side of the court, and then he dribbles, and then he shoots. You can see how the opponent jumps up, so both of his legs leaves the floor, right? And when your body is in the air, there's no way you can react, right? But if you look at Kobe's foot, So one or the other foot is always on the ground. So he's able to change direction, stop, and start anytime. So if you want to react fast, both of your legs has to be on the floor. And you can see that in karate as well. Some people might jump up, but in Japan, they prefer for us to jump down. So you don't hop up, you have your weight on the ground like this. So the next example is the turning technique. So how he was able to turn fast. So let's take a look at this turn. So he gets the ball, he turns, and then he shoots. So let's look at the slow replay of this. So he moves first, he turns to the back, and his right leg becomes the pivoting leg. Notice how his left leg doesn't move like a compass. So it doesn't move in a semicircle. It moves in a straight line. So this angle is pretty good. He ducks down and then see how his leg turns straight. If his leg moves around, that becomes a slower body movement. And in karate, you always get your leg close to the body and then you move it. So there's no movement like a compass. I think you can see that in the video right here. So my leg doesn't go around. So my knees come together and then it moves in a straight line. And that's the same exact turning technique that Kobe uses for his signature turning moves. Next, we'll be looking at how Kobe was able to drop his knees down in order to generate speed. So let's take a look at example here. So he fakes, and then he drives in, and then he shoots. So this seems like a normal drive right here, but if you look at it slowly, so he first steps to the right, he moves back, he fakes, right, and then he shoves his way to the opponent, he makes some distance, and then look at this left one here. It's a bit, it's a small movement, but rather than shifting his body weight completely to the left leg and then moving forward, he drops his leg back. So he shifts it back and then makes his body weight drop forward to move his whole body forward. So right here, see how there's a small step to the left? That's generating speed for him to take the initiative. And in karate, there's a dropping motion as well. There are two types of ways to punch. One by stepping forward, and one with keeping the leg on the same spot and dropping forward. I think you'll be able to see that in this video. So the first one is stepping forward, and the second one is dropping your leg. Yeah, so right here again, Kobe was able to get to his maximum speed faster than the opponent. Next, we'll be focusing on the direction of the toes to make your jump stable. So if I look at this example here, Kobe receives the ball and then he moves across the court and then he jumps. In this scenario, there is a huge momentum going to the side. However, he has to turn that momentum to where the basket is. So in order to do that, so that his body doesn't shift to the side, notice how before he jumps, he turned his toes to the basket and jumps up. If his toes were still facing the side, then he's just gonna jump to the side. But he faced it forward. And you see this in karate as well. Let's say in a jump in Heian Shodan like this one, your toes face completely to the side in order for you to jump up. In this kata, you want to block down when you land. So rather than jumping to the side, you want to jump up. And to do that, you have to turn your toes. If you don't turn your toes, then you're just going to jump to the forward. So that's another example that you can see here, how both in karate and the way Kobe jumps, that in order for them to generate power up, they pay attention to the direction of where their toes are facing. So in the future, we'll be taking these kind of videos, so connecting karate with other kinds of sports. So if you're interested, please make sure to subscribe to my channel. And also, if you are already subscribed, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our videos. See you guys tomorrow.